Hi everybody, it's Brooke from the Bonneville Library. I'm back for another Think and Tinker this week. Today we are going to be going off of our Viking week that we've been doing, and we're going to do a Viking catapult. So it's going to look like this, and we're going to know how we're going to do that because there's PDF instructions in your guys' folders, and I'm also going to take you through it right away. So the video code is going to be launch. So make sure you guys are writing that down, and you can get credit for that for those great prizes that are announced. I want to make sure that everybody knows that this was a little bit tricky for me, as once I started it was a little bit hard to wrap the elastics around, but it's definitely worth it. So don't get frustrated and just keep trying and ask for help if you need help, because safety first, and if your adult needs to help you, that's totally fine. So we're going to get started, and then I'm going to show you guys step by step how to make it, and then we'll meet back here for our usual spot. Okay, this is what you'll need for your Viking catapult, which is the rest of the skewers that were in your craft bag. So what you're going to want to do is definitely trim the points off the skewers, and you might need an adult to help you, so make sure that if your rules in your household are an adult needs to help you, that you're getting that done. So what you want to do is just trim off the edge of the skewers, and then you'll want to trim off one of them and then cut it in half. So make sure you're measuring, whether that's just with your finger and you're kind of like eyeballing it, or if you are actually measuring it, because you'll want to use the full length. That's important. The first time I tried this craft out, I didn't cut the full length of the skewer like this, and it didn't work as well. So just a heads up for that. So the first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to make these two. It's a little bit different on the paper, but I just took apart the one that I already made. So I have two kind of like triangles, and I'd like to make one triangle like this. So what I'll want to do is try to get it so that when I'm putting it on, all of these skewers are wrapped around by the elastic like this one. And how I did it in the past was I actually put all three of them together just to make it a little bit easier. Now it's going to be hard, so I suggest if you're having a hard time wrapping the elastic and holding all three of the skewers, just do this with the elastic, and then it will be easier to get less wraps. So when you're wrapping the elastic, just try as hard as you can to go at every angle and wrap it around each of the skewers equally, so you can make sure you get a nice and tight seal around it. And it might take you a few tries, it might unravel like it did for me. That's totally fine. Stuff like that happens. That's why I'm saying that you need to be patient and wrap it. Because sometimes it doesn't always work out like that. See, I'm struggling a little bit because you want to try to get them. It might help a little bit if you put it on the ground. First, just to level it, and then try wrapping it around them, like so. Okay, so now that we have this, we're gonna do the other side, because it looks like that. So it might take you a few tries to get the wrap around it. That's totally fine. And then you're gonna wanna make sure that these all line up. That's probably the hardest part, is that the skewers are gonna wanna go back and forth because of the elastic, and you're just gonna wanna try to keep them in place long enough that you can get an elastic around it. which is gonna be tricky. But once you get a few wraps, it should be fine. So now we have this, which is what it looks like in the picture. Only thing is this is gonna have to come up, which is okay. So then once you have your skewer in half, your last skewer in half, you're going to attach it like so. So you're gonna have to bring this one up more, which is fine. You're just gonna have to hold it in place. But for now, we can do this guy, which you're gonna have to wrap it like this. This is how I did it. I put the skewer through it and went like that just to start it, because I struggled with that a little bit. I wasn't sure how I was going to start it. But then you just start wrapping it in every direction just to make sure that it will hold on. And then you're gonna wanna go to the other side, bring it all the way out. You're gonna have to stretch it a little bit, and that's okay. And then you can also do it like this way to get it started. And then just keep wrapping it. That's kind of why I chose this Catapult, because I like that there's no glue involved, because glue is very unpredictable and sometimes people don't have it. So that way this Catapult, if it comes unraveled, you can just use another elastic. So we're gonna do the same to the other side and try to make it, like eyeball it just enough to see if it's going to fit. And it should be about the same as where the other one was. You might need to rewrap them, and it's totally fine, like I said. So then I always kind of look and see if these two are somewhat in place, and then you just start wrapping. Okay, so then once your Catapult looks kind of like this, you have definitely figured it out. And then your last 3 elastics. Now, I realize that I haven't given you guys enough elastics, so you can use hair elastics, the little ones that you can get for braids, or vegetables like green onions. They sometimes have elastics, so there's a way around that if you don't just have regular elastics, because I didn't realize how many you needed when I gave you guys these bags, which is okay because you can just improvise. So then to start the basket, you're gonna need 3 more elastics, and you just loop them through the hole. You might need to use one of your skewers to push them through the holes, which is okay. So what you wanna do is attach it to the bottom first. So you're gonna loop the actual bottle cap through the loop so that it also hangs on to there. And then when you're looping it here, you wanna come from the back when you're looping it on here, so that when you're firing it, it doesn't come loose. You're gonna come from the back and over to where these guys are. So It's gonna look like that. Now you are ready to go. You're ready to fire. So I have a paper, just a ball of paper, because you don't want to use something like a marble because that could actually hurt somebody or break something. So I want to stress that when you're firing these, you're asking your adult if you can fire them inside, if that's where you built it, and making sure that you're never shooting it at somebody, because that is not allowed and that's not safe. So just make sure that you're being cautious when you finally get this built. You can make your own games, so you can knock over things, you can hit targets. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do with this catapult. And you can use different lengths of these side pieces, because if you do a shorter length or a longer length, that will determine how hard or how high and how far your object will go in your basket. So that's something that you can use. So you can play around with that. You can experiment with modifying the catapult a little bit, and even modifying what you're putting in there. You're looking at, does this fly the farthest? Does this fly the farthest? Does something else that you use fly the farthest? So there's a lot of things that you guys can do with this. And I hope that this outcome, once you guys start playing with it, is worth it, because it is a little bit frustrating when you're trying to build it. But if you ask for help from your adult or your older sibling or anybody in your household, I'm sure that they can help you. And it's definitely worth the pain of wrapping all these elastics. So I'm gonna show you guys me firing it with different objects and seeing which one of these two things will fly the most. So I have given you guys the instructions for this, so that you can keep them, you can show your friends what you built, because this isn't hard to make. If you're looking to buy skewers and plastic, and you already will have plastic bottle caps, and you'll have the elastics, it's a very easy, quick craft. So I thought that printing this out will be easier for you guys to follow, and it will be a good thing that you can do in the future. So I'll meet you guys back at our usual spot, and we can do a little bit of firing of this, and then you guys can start playing with yours. Welcome back to our usual spot, everybody. This is the finished product of our catapult. Remember that you guys can change the modifications a little bit. You can change what you're throwing. You can change the height of these and just see what works when you're experimenting, and what works better, what works worse, and just keep an eye on that, because this is something that can be ongoing and fun. So I'm going to attach some videos and some photos of me shooting mine, because I just can't get enough of it. It's so fun. So I hope you guys have fun with this, and you can show other people, even since you have those instructions. So I'm out of here. And I hope that you guys have a great week.